كيف أنتم إذا طغت نساؤكم وفسق شبابكم وتركتم الجهاد؟ قالوا إن ذلك لكائن يا رسول الله. قال نعم وأشد منه سيكون. كيف أنتم إذا لم تأمروا بالمعروف وتنهوا عن المنكر؟ قالوا وكائن ذلك. قال نعم وأشد منه سيكون. كيف أنتم إذا رأيتم المعروف منكرا ورأيتم المنكر معروفا؟ قالوا وكائن ذلك. قال إيه والله وأشد منه سيكون. قال كيف إذا أمرتم بالمنكر ونهيتم عن المعروف؟ قالوا وكائن ذلك يا رسول الله. قال إيه والله وأشد منه سيكون. يقول الله تعالى بي حلفت لأتيحن لهم فتنة يصير الحليم فيها حيران. ذكره ابن أبي حاتم في العلل وسنده لا بأس به. So it is inshallah authentic. Once Rasulullah said, actually, you know, this hadith has been narrated by different chain and it's very long hadith, but this is a shorter version of the same narration. So Rasulullah says, كيف أنتم إذا طغت نساؤكم وفسق شبابكم? All people, how you will feel yourselves when طغت نساؤكم, your women will take over. Means on bad way. On bad way. What's the meaning of our women, our wives taking over on bad way? So it's coming in the next hadith. It's coming that person will be forced to commit sin by his family, by his wife, and etc. And then they asked how. Rasulullah said that let's suppose that I'm married and I'm poor. So my wife will put a blame on me saying, oh, you know, look, your friend, he's driving this car and you are driving nothing, and he lives there and you are living nowhere. Okay, so her family will blame upon me and my family will blame upon me, and that's how they will force me to go to look for quicker way of being rich. And as you know, most of the time the quickest way of being rich is prohibited, haram way. Kill someone, get paid. Sell drugs, get paid. Or steal. That's the easiest ever way. Okay. You know, everyone is married here today. Okay, so the non-married kids, we have honey there with the dates. Just put it into your ears. Don't listen to what we are talking about. You know, you know, they say the best enjoyment of the life is three things. It is your wife, and it is your house, and it's your transport. Your wife, when she makes you happy, when you speak to her or when you look at her, and when you're traveling, she keeps herself, saves herself, as well as takes care of your house and kids. So that's the best ever enjoyment of the world. Okay, she makes you happy in any way. Okay. And the house, when it is wide, so any guest, when they will come, you will not be panicking, you know. As well as you need a library for yourself, you have some spare room there. And you need some worshipping room, you have it there. And you need a room in which you will be playing with your friends, with your family, so there is spare room for that also. And you are into the gardening, so you have spare room for that also. So that's the second best ever enjoyment of the dunya. And third is the transport. You need to get somewhere, okay, so it helps you, so reliable car. If there will be some crash, your car keeps you inside very safe, and it is very fast, and it's very reliable. So these are three best enjoyments of the dunya. If you will think properly, there is nothing more enjoyable than this, you know. So we work to gain the money only because of these three things. And any other enjoyment is very temporary and very abnormal. Okay? So everything will come back to these three best enjoyments. As well as the three worst, you can say, destructions of this dunya are these three. Wife that all the time blames upon you, okay, shouts at you, insults you, you are hungry, you came back home, food is not ready, house is not tidy, as well as she will make you to listen to her caprices. Well, you came back from the morning till the evening, you was working. You need some relaxation, you know. She will not give you any relaxation, but she will give you extra headache. So the next morning you will go back to your place, office, being very confused and stressed, depressed. So the worst destruction of this dunya is the wife on that status. And the second worst destruction of the dunya is the house, which you may not find the proper place to sleep. So humid, you know, humidity is the highest. It makes you to be ill, you know. It makes your kids to be ill. So you have to take them on regular basis to the GP and to the ambulance and to the hospital, you know, because of the house. It's very humid. It could be very wide also, but humidity and the diseases which are there, or the place, the location, the locality of the house is very, very bad. So that's the second ever worst destruction of the worldly things. And third one is the car. You drive your car 2 meters, but your car drives you 2 miles. Okay, so that's the third worst destruction of the dunya. كيف أنتم إذا طغت نساءكم? All Muslims, how you are going to find yourselves when your women will get crazy, when your women will take over. Now, if you just look how your mother or your grandmother used to be with your grandfather, you say, my grandfather was husband. I don't mean that we have to be harsh, we have to be, it's not like that. It's not like that. كيف أنتم إذا طغت نساؤكم? So how you will find yourself, or Muslims, when your women will get crazy. وفسق شبابكم, and your youth will be misguided, disobedient, sorry. Your youth, young people, will be disobedient. You know, I remember in my generation when I used to be kid, well, I'm still not old man, you know, I'm still kid. I'm 16 years old young man, you know, still. Okay, yes. Well, who knows, you know, where this is going to come from, you know, so we say welcome. So anyway, when I used to be kid, so in our street, so people, disobedient people used to be just countable, you know. And people used to speak about them. Oh, you know, we saw him with the women, you know, doing something strange. Or he's only the person who can do it, you know. But now in our time now, in one street, maybe one person is recognizable as a good, well-behaved, you know. So it is only about 20 years, and within 20 years, so huge change. Okay, so within about 20 years, within about 16 years, so huge difference. But 20 years is still good. 20 years is still good. وَتَرَكْتُمُ الْجِهَادِ, and when you will neglect or ignore the jihad. You know, the command of jihad, it was before the command of praying and fasting. But as you know, in each single field, there is big shaitan sitting to twist the meaning of the Islamic and Quranic terminologies. The first ayah about jihad is وَمَنْ جَاهَدَ فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَمَعَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Indeed, those people who will make jihad, we will guide them. And it has been revealed before, about 7 years before the hijrah, migration. Now, when we say jihad, what's the first thing you think of? It is Osama bin Laden. So the matter of Osama bin Laden came after 1 year after the migration. Am I right? So it is after 8 years after the command, after the order of jihad. So does it mean that Rasulullah ﷺ did wrong or Sahaba did wrong for 8 years? Means the jihad is not what we're understanding now. Or how come that Rasulullah ﷺ has been ordered to do jihad 7 years before migration, and then he does it 1 year after migration, you know? So what is the jihad? Jihad is coming from the root of juhad, hardship. Jahada yujahidu, to struggle. To struggle. As you can see, وَتَرَكْتُمُ الْجِهَادِ, and when you neglect, when you ignore jihad. And the Osama bin Laden stuff, is it ongoing or not? Is it ongoing? No, because fighting and killing, is it ongoing or not? But Rasulullah in here says, when you will ignore it. So, when you will ignore the real jihad that Allah did speak about. Or otherwise, the things that we understand, that's ongoing thing everywhere, you know. Now, they're claiming it in Yemen, Syria, Libya, Afghanistan, Iran, Lebanon, you know, Morocco, somewhere, Sudan, you know. So that is very widely spread thing. But Rasulullah in here says, وَتَرَكْتُمُ الْجِهَادِ. Have you seen anyone who is struggling to improve his behavings? Have you seen anyone who is trying to control his temper? We see people, angry and arrogant people, Muslims, they could be scholars also, even after 10 years they're even more arrogant and more angry. Why? Because they did neglect the jihad, you know. What is the jihad? To struggle to improve yourself, you know. That's what jihad is. To struggle to improve yourself. Allah did promise anyone who struggles to improve himself, Allah will guide him. But it doesn't mean that anyone who will ignore killing people, Allah will. And anyone who will go to kill the people, Allah will guide him. If you will give that interpretation, so then Rasulullah gives another prediction, saying there will be battles before what's happening right now, and the people who are killed in their battles are going to the hell. And from both sides they are claiming jihad. So the jihad that you understand and the jihad that God and Messenger is speaking is totally two different things. It is totally two different things. Because there is big shaitan sitting there giving interpretation to the Quranic verses and the ahadith. So that's why we do not have the proper understanding of what Rasulullah ﷺ brought. So it is the same example as I gave you about Leonardo da Vinci and Mona Lisa with the vodka next to it, you know. Okay? So it is different interpretation, wrong interpretation of Quranic verses. Rasulullah ﷺ was the first ever person to implement the orders. Am I right? And between the order and implementation, if it is 8 years, so you cannot call the person, he is the first person to implement. Am I right? So Rasulullah ﷺ says, قُلْ إِنْ كَانَ لِلَّهِ وَلَدٌ فَأَنَا أَوَّلُ الْعَابِدِينَ. So say to them, if they would be the son of God, or if they would be kids of a God, so I would be the first person to worship. Because Rasulullah is the first person to obey God. 8 years is a very long journey to say that he is the first person to implement this ayah. Okay? It's a very long period. So the majority of the murder and killing and all of these battles that is happening by the name of Islam or by the name of jihad is not a jihad, and Rasulullah did predict that people who are killed in these battles are going to the hell. Going to the hell. Yes, Sheikh.
And it's touched upon something we said before, is that there's a lot of difference of opinion out there, and for the normal people, we struggle to see which one's the right path and the wrong path, because obviously from both sides you'll see scholars, and some of them are very famous scholars, who are saying that this is the true interpretation.
Yeah.
And so the fear person I have is that you you leave out something that's quite fundamental to your belief. So it's not a case like I'll ignore all of them. It might be something that's quite important that you should have followed. And in that situation, what should you do? Because both of them will present the Quran and Hadith as evidence.
Yeah. No, you know, unfortunately, the biggest duty of our time is to study. So the way out of the fitna is to study. So I am very sorry for the ignorant people, because unfortunately most of them are going to be misguided. You know? Do you remember when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was talking about the people who did follow the damaged gospels? What Allah said, وَمِنْهُمْ أُمِّيُّونَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ الْكِتَابَ إِلَّا أَمَانِي. And amongst them, the majority of the people are those who لَا يَعْلَمُونَ الْكِتَابَ. They don't have the knowledge of the books, how books should be. Okay. وَإِنْهُمْ إِلَّا يَخْرُصُونَ. So they are only guessing and showing emotions. Okay. Means they're still misguided. But then what Allah said, فَوَيْلٌ لِلَّذِينَ يَكْتُبُونَ الْكِتَابَ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ ثُمَّ يَقُولُونَ هَذَا مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. So may Allah curse those who write books from their side and then they say it is from God. Means the responsibility lies upon the leaders who are misguiding the people using Quranic verses and ahadith on different interpretations, but yet those followers are not ignored from the responsibility. Okay? Rasulullah ﷺ said to the Sahaba, أنتم في زمن العمل فيه خير من العلم. You are all Sahaba living in the time in which practicing, praying, tahajjud, etc., tasbih is better than the knowledge. وسيأتي على الناس زمن يكون فيه العلم خير من العمل. But there will be a time in which knowledge will be much more important than practicing. Because knowledge is the thing that guides you, But in the time of Sahaba, there is no misguidance. Just practice, because practicing is more important. You will build up your rewards. But now, if you have some strange opinion, belief, and you practice all your life, Allah doesn't give you reward, Because you have aqidah that leads you to the hell. Aqidah that leads you to kufr, So I say the way out is only to study. And I'm so sorry to those people who are away from the access to the knowledge, And I'm even more sorry to those who have got the access to the knowledge, but then they do not go for it, Okay, so the ignorant people, they have to learn and study. But what about asking the scholars? As I told you, there are only few scholars, Not in the UK, but in the world. Okay, for example, when you will put it on YouTube, if you can just cut this bit, okay? I have over 80 different